What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie, Bama Tailgate, talking about Alabama's 17-3 win over South Florida. I'm not fired up about this one, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think about this game because this obviously wasn't what I was expecting when Alabama played against South Florida today. So, I mean, look, a win's a win. No doubt we saw some different quarterbacks in the game. Ty Simpson was the quarterback that finished the game. So, I mean, we got all that to talk about. So I want to definitely hear from you guys as we get into this one, but not what I think a lot of us were expecting as far as the way that this thing would go on today. So, but look, a win's a win. I mean, you can't argue with that. Ty Simpson, 5 of 9, 73 yards. I mean, Tyler Buchner looked terrible, 5 of 14, couldn't throw a pass that was complete, 34 yards. You know, it was like we all wanted to blame Jalen Milroe. I didn't, but I think a lot of us did. And it was like, no, I mean, it wasn't about him today. This was about a lot more than just the way that he performed. So bottom line is this, is Alabama's got to get a lot better moving forward. And, we saw that today with the way that things went down. So the phone lines are open at 205-955-7615. We're going to do a little bit of a post game and kind of get into this. And, if you guys want to jump in on the conversation, I'd love to hear from you because I need some, I need to hear from what you guys think because, I mean, I don't even know what to think. I mean, you're a 30-some point favorite. You're supposed to come into this game and take care of business. And that's not what happened today. I mean, Alabama looks very un-Alabama-like. I mean, this doesn't look like what we kind of expected Alabama to look like. And, just horrible. But I want to hear what you guys think. So call in on the show and let's talk about it. And again, the number is 205 995. I'm going to give it to you real slow, 7615. And let's kind of get into like what we saw today. We heard that maybe, Buchner was going to be the guy that was going to come in and make a difference. And, he was a guy who had spent time with, with the offensive coordinator, Tommy Rees at Notre Dame. He was going to come in and he was going to make a difference. And he was terrible. Like his passes were garbage. Like nobody could catch them. And he got benched. And then it was Ty Simpson's turn. And, Ty Simpson was a little bit better. I mean, he scored the touchdown that won the game, 17-13. I mean, that was the final in the game. It wasn't even like it was a great win, but, at this point, you just take them when you can get them, right? So, he came in and got the touchdown at the end of the game. And there's so many things wrong with this Alabama team right now. The defense did a good job today, only limiting USF to 3 points. But, I mean, everything else was really bad. We knew that there was a chance that Buchner was going to start the game, and he did, and that didn't really mean much. I mean, he wasn't good enough. And then, they brought in Ty Simpson, and he was a little better. But not much better than Jalen Milroe. Going into the Ole Miss game, I just don't look at this team and go, you know what? I'm really confident in a lot of the things that these guys are doing. I mean, I look at them and I'm thinking like, yeah, I mean, like, they're pretty good, but they got great players, but that doesn't mean that they're necessarily good on the field. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just a little bit tough, because obviously I've been there and seen some really good teams, but this isn't a team I'm looking at as I pull up the stats that I'm not that worried about. Ty Simpson, the winning quarterback, was 5 of 9, 73 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Buchter, 5 of 14, 34 yards, average 2.5. Okay. Roydell Williams, 17 carries, 129 yards. He was the difference in the game for Alabama. Had a touchdown. Nice game for him. Chase McClellan, 13 carries, 74 yards. Buchter, 2 carries, 11 yards. Jam Miller, 1 carry, 1 yard. I mean, these aren't stats that are blowing you away. Isaiah Bond, 4 catches, 42 yards. CJ Dupree, a catch and 45 yards. I mean, Alabama has some big time problems right now. I mean, this is
what is it?
These are
Zimify is an immune globulin or IG therapy.
I don't know what that is right
IG there. Is a scientific term for
You pull that off there. These are the type of games that get you beat. These are the type of games that you lose and your season's over, right? But I want to hear from you guys. 205-955-7615. Let me know what you think. I'm not real confident in this. I mean, this isn't the kind of game where I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh, well, Alabama's put themselves in position to win some games. But let me go to the phone lines because I just want to know what you guys think because I'm not impressed. Who's this and where are you calling from? Hey, you there? Okay, well, I've had a call and lost a call. I don't know. Like, I'm not blown away by what I saw with Alabama today. I mean, like, and I want you guys to call in and be like, oh, look, Mick, I think this is what you're missing something. Because I just don't see it. I see a team that's not doing great. I see a team that's not taking care of business. I mean, I see a team that's not getting things done. I don't see a team that's ready to win a championship. Let me go to. I'm going to look at you guys in the comments section because. As I wait for phone calls, I don't know what to think. Hope this disaster game ends soon. I'd rather enjoy this show since. Look, bro, I'm with you, man. Thanks, Garth. I don't even know what to think. I'm with you. I mean, my show can't be worse than what we just saw. Tyon, hey, roll tide, man. Thunder says offensive line is awful. Yeah, they're terrible. GM 12 Green says defensive line great, but this offense is pathetic. I'm with you, man. This isn't good enough to get it done. I mean, it's just not. Steve's talking about Alabama's quarterbacks. Who knows, man? I mean, Jalen Milroe couldn't have done worse than this. And we're like, well, we're going to change Milroe and we're going to bring in, the guy in Buchter that played with Tommy Rees at Notre Dame, and he's going to make a difference. Okay, that didn't help. I mean, the guy couldn't throw a pass. Like he's skipping the balls at everybody's feet. He's talking about offensive lineman Proctor needs to sit on the bench. Proctor got bowled over. I mean, he's just getting like destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. We finally used 2 tight ends. And what do you know? We actually could run the ball. Yeah, we did run the ball. And look, I mean, 17-3 is better than 3-17, right? So, I mean, I'll give you that. But then he shoots back and I'm not impressed with any of the quarterbacks. I'm not either. And I know a lot of you guys on the message boards, you're like, hey, man, like, why are we, we're burying Jalen Milroe? I never buried Jalen Milroe. My remark was, look, if you're not going to play him at quarterback as the starter, you got to figure out a way to get him in the game because he's such a difference maker, and I mean, I'm telling you, like, that's the thing about this is that he's a difference maker. Like, you can't, even if you're saying, hey, look, he's not our starting quarterback, you just can't bury him on the bench. If you're a good offensive coordinator, which we didn't see last year with Bill O'Brien, you gotta figure out a way to get this guy in the game. And that, to me, is a really big part of running this offense is figure out a way to get this guy the hell in the game. Sitting on the bench, Jalen Milroe's not helping anybody. But I think what we're seeing now is that Jalen Milroe wasn't getting any help from the offensive line, and he's better than what we had today. He's better than Ty Simpson, and he's obviously better than Tyler Buchner. I don't think anybody was like really fired up when Tyler Buchner transferred from Notre Dame to Alabama. I mean, we're not thinking like this guy's going to make a difference. I mean, he couldn't make a 2-yard pass and get it in someone's hands. 205-955-7615. If you want to talk about this game, I'd love to hear what you think, but I'm not blown away. And on the shows, we're talking about like, what is it going to look like without Milroe, with Buchner? I knew that they were going to make a change. I kind of knew that earlier in the week, but it didn't mean that I was like into the change. It was just what I knew was going to happen. And all I saw was a guy that wasn't ready for the job. So let's go to the phone lines. Let's see if you guys can get on here and talk about it. I'm just not sure what to think. All I know is Alabama looked terrible today. Who's this and where are you calling from? Can you hear me? Man, I'm not hearing you at all. So if you're talking, I can't hear you. Let me just go to the next call. And if it's on our end, and I apologize because all I know is that I'm talking to you and I'm not hearing anything. Who's this and where are you calling from? Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Man, I'm sure you guys are ready to fire in some like comments on this. I don't know why I can't hear you, but all I'm telling you is that this performance today wasn't good enough for what Alabama needs the performance to be. 205-955-7615 is the number. You can call in and talk about it, but beating South Florida 17-3 when you're a 31-point favorite and you can't run the ball consistently and you can't throw the ball consistently and you're going to lose like this is not the type of game that I'm thinking that a lot of us are really proud of. I mean, like, this isn't the type of game that is going to win you a national championship. This isn't the type of game that you're going to look at and go, you know what? We built something on this. Awful. Just awful. I mean, like, this isn't even a good South Florida team. They're terrible. They got run out of the building by Western Kentucky. Like, this isn't. I mean, I want to be like, oh, you know what? Like, this is a good team. That's not a good team. It's not. This is a crappy team. And it's really showing you kind of where Alabama's football program is right now. And is it that no one wants to come work for Nick Saban because he pushes too hard? Is it that you know what, this is a tough conference? I don't know. But what I will tell you is that if I'm Alabama, I'm pretty concerned right now. I'm really, really concerned because if you're struggling to beat University of South Florida, what are you going to do against the SEC? And they got to figure out who's the starting quarterback and then move from there. I mean, like, really, like, you can't just decide that, you know, you're okay with where things are right now. I mean, that's, you know, this is terrible. This is a program that is obviously in decline. And we don't want to say that. Like, nobody wants to be like, well, you know what? Alabama's in trouble. They're in trouble. And is it Nick Saban? Is it the coaches that he's hired? I mean, I don't know. All I know is that if you struggle, you get beat by Texas and you lose the penalty battle, the turnover battle, you get your ass kicked on both lines of scrimmage, and then you play a scrub, and they are a scrub in South Florida, and you can't do anything right. What are you going to do when you get into real games? So, I mean, that's where we are right now. And I'm not at the point where, I'm not trying to throw Nick Saban under the bus. I love Nick Saban. I mean, we've kind of been like Nick Saban's ride or dies over the years. But there's a big drop off in what we're seeing right now and you know, kind of where this program is. And I mean, going into the SEC schedule starting next week, I don't know what to expect. I really don't. I want to know what you guys think. 205-955-7615. What do you think? Because I think that this is trouble. I think that when you beat South Florida 17-13 and you're a 31, 32, 33 and a half point favorite, you suck. When I see, you know, everyone is talking about bringing in Tyler Buchner and he can't throw a pass to the guys behind the line of scrimmage in the air, you're terrible. And this is the guy who your offensive coordinator got the transfer from Notre Dame to come and save you at Alabama. He's terrible. It's not good enough. And I mean, look, did Ty Simpson do anything that blew you away? And we saw Jalen Milroe last week. He looked like dazed and confused, but he was better than both of these guys. The problem is that there's no rest for the weary from where we are now and where this thing's going. And it's about to get really tough. Everybody's like, well, you know what? Maybe 9-3, maybe 8-4. I don't know how you're getting there. These guys suck. Like, snapping the ball and blocking is hard. Think about snapping the ball, blocking, and then throwing the ball downfield and completing a pass. I mean, really, like this is, I think that if you're not in that, like, hey, DEFCON, 5 mode, you need to be there because this ship is sinking fast like the Titanic. And I feel like everybody's like, hey, Mick, you need to calm down. Everything's going to be fine. No, it's not. It's not fine. Nothing about what I'm looking at is fine. They got their ass kicked against Georgia. It wasn't even close. Like the score was way closer than what it really was. You get your ass beat on both sides of the ball. I mean, both sides. Like there was nothing that Alabama did better than Texas. I'm sorry, Texas. Nothing they did better on both sides of the ball. Nothing. Texas is getting pressure on the quarterback, rushing 3 guys. And Alabama, like Quinn Ewers is back there, doing his makeup, looking downfield. Nobody's pressuring him. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are you looking at? It was Mike Shula. I lived through the Mike Shula. I know the Mike Shula. Great guy. Crapping on the sideline, patting everybody on the back. We're looking at the Mike Shula era again. This is where we're at right now. And no one wants to think that because we all love Nick. We love Nick. But if this doesn't change fast, if this doesn't get fixed like next week, you're looking at the same thing. Like you get the lead in the fourth quarter and your players are on the sideline posing like they're in Cosmo. And then they get their ass kicked in the fourth quarter. Like they're terrible. We didn't even see the ball the last 7 minutes last week. I know about that because I was watching the Mike Shula team. Hey, I watched it 5 years of it. Like get the lead, fourth quarter, and you don't do shit. And I'm seeing that last week. You guys can get in the comment sections. Tell me I'm wrong. And then I see this, like, we can't block. We're going to blame Jeff. I've been all week like, okay, maybe we're going to bring in Tyler Buchner and it's going to make a difference. We're going to put it on Milroe. Man, this isn't on Milroe. I'm sorry. This isn't on Milroe. This is on the offensive coordinator. This is on the offensive line. This is on the scheme. We stink. Don't be surprised when this team wins like 5 games. You're struggling against South Florida, a mid-level team in the American Conference. Now you're going to beat Ole Miss. Now you're going to beat this team. You're going to beat Mississippi State. You're going to beat Auburn and LSU. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not beating anybody with the crap that we're seeing right now. You can't block. I mean, this is, and I don't want to see the end of this era. I want to be wrong. I want you guys to be like, Mick, you're wrong. We're good. We're not good. We are not good. We are not good. We're just not. This isn't good. A 17-3 win at South Florida where you can't even run the ball. You can't even throw the ball. You're bringing in the third string quarterback. That's not good. It's just not. This is what it looks like when your ship has a big hole in it and you're sinking. And we've had some great years. And look, man, I've had the most incredible time watching Alabama, enjoying what we're doing right now. But you're not going to convince me that this is what it looks like, let alone like getting to a championship or anything. I'm just thinking like win week to week. But call me and tell me I'm wrong. 205-955-7615. Tell me, call in and tell me I'm wrong. because I just feel like what I just saw was a disaster. I just did. I mean, I'm not impressed with any of it. I'm not fired up about any of that. So I'm going to go to the phones and see if I can get these phones to work because I want you guys to convince me I'm wrong. Please convince me I'm wrong. What's up, man? Who's this and where you calling from? Trying to get these guys on the air. And I know you're there, but I can't hear you. So let me do this. Let me just put something up, see if I can figure out how to get this going because I need you guys to tell me that I'm wrong. I need to hear somebody tell me that what I'm thinking right now. I just want to know I'm wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the stats and I'm going to see if I can get this phone thing working. And then if I can, I want to hear from you guys because I need you to tell me that I'm wrong. I just want you to convince me that that what I just watched wasn't what I really watched. Like that I'm absolutely off base with this program right now. That's what I want to know. I want to feel like, oh, you know what? I'm wrong. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw up the stats, let you look at those for a second, see if I can get the phone things figured out. And then if I can get the phone things figured out, I'm going to take a couple calls and hear from you guys because I'm just not I'm just not feeling like this like I should be surprised by this. And then it's like, oh, well, you should be happy that you won. Like, yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy every time Alabama wins a game. I really am. But I mean, when I see that, I mean, I'm looking at a team that Alabama's playing. I just don't think it's going to win many games. I don't look at that team and go, you know what? That's a team that South Florida team is going to really do a lot of damage in college football. Like I'm not looking at them going, yeah, you know what? Like, like South Florida is going to surprise some people. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at Alabama going, you stink. And if that's the best you can do, we all have a lot of trouble ahead of us. So I'm going to put the stats up. You guys look at them. And then again, I'm going to try to get these phone lines working because I don't know why they're not working right now, but I want to just hear what you guys think. So you just look at these and let me see if I can fix this. Hey, you there? What's up, man? Where you come from? All right, we're not getting them at all. We're not doing. It's just not working. Not sure what the deal is with the calls, but I know you guys are trying to call in, and I'm trying to get you on. Let me see if I can figure this out. Hey, can you hear me?
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound.
This bakery needs new equipment fast to keep up with
Enter your
demand.
6-digit
So they're
PIN
going
number.
to On Deck, the online lender that makes it easy to choose your loan, and if approved, get funds as soon as the same day. Your loan is on deck.
Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
No signal yet.
Hey, can you hear me? Where you come from?
Helmet came off.
Hey, Mick, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank God. I mean,
Hey, we got a fix.
I know. I'm trying to figure out like what the hell's going on here.
Yeah, I tried calling him like 3 times. It's Iceman, man. Get this.
Iceman.
Kennedy State.
Yeah, what's up, bro? Man, tell me something, man. What am I crazy? Because I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing right now.
No, you said everything I was thinking for the most part. Let me try and lighten the mood a little bit. I think Roy Williams did a good job separating himself.
Replaces multiple supplements with 75 high-quality ingredients.
Roy Williams did a really good job. You know,
formulated to
17
give your
carries,
body the
129
foundational
yards. Is that
nutrition
correct?
it needs
1
to
touchdown.
thrive. Start now at
Who's that?
Hey, Mick, can you hear me?
Yeah. Who's that? Say that
Hello?
again. Yeah, can you hear me?
All right, yeah, Roydell Williams.
Yeah, Roydell had a big game. I thought Roydell had a big game.
Yeah, so I'm trying to start positive, and then we'll work through all the negatives.
Yeah,
right
go
now.
ahead,
so,
man.
I mean, Roydell Williams, yeah, like, you know, I was talking to my brother about this, and something that I kind of noticed that he did today is something that usually running backs for Alabama do is in adversity, they tend to separate themselves from the rest of the running backs. Najee Harris did in 2019 at the LSU game. I mean, I think that was like his statement game when he said, "I am the number 1 running back." And right now, I think Roydell Williams kind of did that. I'm hoping that's a positive and that continues on. We really did set up the run game at the end there to actually kind of snuff out that game and just kind of limp away with a win. I am not impressed by the quarterback play. I honestly expected Milroe to go in the second half. RG3 said everything that I was thinking. That right now it's Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, and Ty Buckner.
Right.
That's just a fact. I don't know what the thought process is, but you know what? Saban gets paid the big bucks, not us.
Right.
But at this point, it's not looking good. Jalen Milroe, let's look at his last game. All right, let's look at what he did. 14 for 27, 255 yards, 2 for 2. 44 yards for rush.
Right.
I mean, that's a good Texas defense. And you just take time and work with Milroe and just teach him how to read defenses, not stare down a wide receiver like that. Those are fixable issues.
Right.
why are we basically abandoning him and putting him on the bench? You know what would a Gus Malzahn do with Jalen Milroe?
He'd probably run him. Like, he'd probably like spread out the defense and run him, right?
Yeah, he would. He'd probably put in some play action passes too, some simple reads, and he would run them. He would do the wildcat and all that. Like, he would literally do the cam back.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not really high on Tommy Rees. And
he
you saw my
sucked.
tweet this week.
Like, Iceman, he came in and he sucked. Like, he couldn't throw the ball to like the 5-yard guy behind the line of scrimmage. Like, I get it. Like, we hired the 31-year-old offensive coordinator from Notre Dame, and you're like, okay, well, maybe he's gonna, we'll bring his quarterback in. We all knew he sucked, but we were like, okay, well, maybe we're missing something. He couldn't throw the 5-yard pass to the guy behind the line of scrimmage clean. I'm missing something?
No, you're not. I was not impressed at all with that performance. Give him credit in the Middle Tennessee State game. Like, he didn't mess it up, when he came in for 2 drives. But this game, he was a starter and he fumbled it. Not literally, but
he sucked, man. Like, he didn't take the bull by the horns. He looked like he did at Notre Dame. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, mediocre. And all he had to do was just get the ball to the playmakers and get out of the way. He couldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like I said, you saw my tweet this week when I was showing you that Skip Holtz, and that is something that I am not seeing right now from Tommy Rees is a coach on the sideline looking at his quarterback making mistakes and coaching them up.
Right.
Like, you can't coach over a phone. You need to be on the side of the field and talking to them face to face, telling them what they're doing wrong. If you need a guy with eyes in the sky, get someone else to do that.
Yeah.
Get the QB coach to do that. But right now, you are their leader, and you got to be coaching these guys up. Jalen Milroe, he threw those 2 interceptions. If he had Tommy Rees on the side of the field right there saying, "Hey, we're going to win this game, but you got to make your reads correctly," instead of just sitting there on the phone with his hand in his face.
Right. Or if Seth McLaughlin snapping him the ball to his chest instead of to the ground or over him or wherever he's snapping.
Gosh, don't even get me
and Proctor's blocking and not tipping off the defense to whether they're going to run or pass, maybe the guy has a better chance. I know he had the dazed and confused look at times, but it was better than what we saw today. And the thing that bothers me, Iceman, is put the other guys in the game last week just so we can get past this point now and realize Melrose our best chance. He's our best chance. Now we're figuring out, you know what? Jalen Milroe's probably the best chance we have to win a football game. We didn't know that last week.
Exactly. And you know what else gives us the best chance to win? Our run game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That won us the game. That literally, wow, go figure. Our run game won us the game. I guarantee you everyone in the comment section right now is saying, yes, our run game won the game. That is something that everyone can agree on aside from the quarterback talk.
Yep. Look, I'm going to pull this up here. Camp says, looks like an old Mike Shula team. You're damn right. This looks exactly like Mike Shula football. I lived through it. Last week was a Mike Shula game. You know what? You get your ass kicked. You get the lead in the beginning of the 4th quarter. You get the lead, and everybody's posing on the sideline like you won the game. And then the other team comes in there, swoops in, puts their foot up your ass, and then runs the ball at the end of the game, and you don't see it for 7 minutes. That's what Mike Shula. I lived through it. That's what Mike Shula football was. That's where we're at right now. I'm not trying to bury Nick Saban. I love him. I mean, if Nick Saban never won another game, I'd still think he's the GOAT. But right now, where we're at right now, this is what I saw. We just barely beat a team that was 33 and a half point underdogs. And we were lucky to get out of Tampa with a win today. We're lucky.
17 points. We couldn't even get past
and it wasn't even that close. Like, we got the touchdown at the end, but it was close the entire game. I mean, am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, Josh Pate said it best this week. I don't know if you tune in on that.
I love Josh. I think he's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's legit.
He said it best. Yeah, he said it best. He always gives an unbiased opinion on every team, and I love it. But he said that the Alabama coaching staff is not elite.
It's not,
and it's not Nick Saban.
No,
it's the guys under him.
Yeah,
I will give credit.
I agree with
though.
Josh.
Kevin Steele, I am liking a lot more than what I've seen in previous DCs. That I'm just not going to throw the names out there right now because I'm tired of saying it. Bama's defense looked great. I mean,
great job
for dealing with a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
For dealing with a dual threat quarterback, that's not easy. Whenever you're dealing with a quarterback like that, you got to play contain a lot of times and put a QB spy on. And he was just still able to gash the field whenever he needed to, but they were putting pressure on him. He was just able to scramble. I mean, we did that back when Johnny Manziel was playing, and he did the same thing. And you look at what we did to all the other quarterbacks after we played Johnny Manziel. Defense looks much better. I think as the season goes on, this defense is going to be really, really good if the offense, I'm saying this part, if the offense can help them out.
Right. But look, dude, last week, the offense effed these guys over. I mean, really, like, the offense was so bad last week that they put the defense constant in spots where you're like, man, these guys aren't going to be able to dig out of this, right? This week, you're talking about an opponent in South Florida that looked like they were running in quicksand compared to Alabama. Like, they didn't have the athletes to beat Alabama. Like, I'm watching the first quarter and I'm like, okay, this team's not beating us. You know, like, Texas had the dogs to beat Alabama. And I'm not saying that Ole Miss is going to beat us or Mississippi State's going to beat us. I don't know how those games are going to turn out, because we're going to have better players than them. But we got a lot of work to do. All you guys that are hanging out right now, we got a lot of work to do if we're going to go from here to here. I'm not even thinking about getting to Atlanta. I'm just saying, to beat Ole Miss and beat Mississippi State and not get embarrassed against Texas A&M and not lose to LSU, like, all these games that are coming up, there's a lot of work to do because I'm not real confident with this crew.
Yeah, I agree, man. Let's just hope that we're better than Vandy.
We're better than Vandy. But, I mean, it's – I mean, I would hate for us to get to that point, you know, or Kentucky or something like that. It's not that. It's just – I just think that Nick Saban works these coaches so hard. He's got his way of doing things, and it's like, I'm focused on this. You're going to do this, this, and this. And there's just too many other options now. Go to Georgia. You can coach there. You don't have to work those hours. Ole Miss, you don't have to work those hours. Texas, you don't have to work those hours. And, you know, and down the line, Maryland, you don't have to work those hours. You got all these different coaches that are giving you different, better options as far as like spending your whole life working. And I just feel like that's part of this. I mean, I just feel like Nick Saban's a slave driver. And a lot of these coaches are like, you know what? F this. I'm not doing it. I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm going to have a little bit of free time with my family. And if Nick Saban's going to be successful in the future, he's going to have to compromise and keep these guys, the best of the best, coming there, because I don't feel like we have the best of the best right now. I just don't.
No, I agree with you there. But hey, I'm gonna go ahead and let the other callers get in, because I know that there's other people who want to talk. I appreciate you for taking my call.
Ice, man, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being part of the show.
All right, no problem, man.
All right, great call. Let's go right back to the calls again. I want you guys to convince me. I want you to tell me that I'm wrong. I mean, and look, I'm going to put the phone lines up. Tell me that I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be right. Like, I want to feel like that the things that I'm saying aren't correct, because who wants to be right in this situation? Not me. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Adam calling from Georgia. How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing, Adam?
All right. So I'll be the first caller to say I think you're wrong, and I'll try to explain
Yeah,
why.
dude, tell me, man. I want to hear it.
All right. Well, I think today one thing that I got from the game is that our defense is really, really good. We got more pressure. The linebackers played well, and the corners played well. Now, what the problems are is we have a terrible offensive line, and when Tommy Reese doesn't seem to be the guy, and Ty seems to have great potential, but I don't think he's there yet. So I think Saban's going to go with Milroe, and we're probably still going to get the same bad interceptions and problems that we've had like we did against Texas. And I think there is a culture problem at Alabama right now. I don't think the players are listening to Saban. And, when Tyler Booker last week said that they were a new generation of players that was different from past championship teams, it kind of alluded to that. And I think Saban even said once that he didn't know if his team was that talented. But given that, I think other teams are dealing with the same issues. Georgia was struggling today. LSU got crushed by Florida State. I think the problems we have are fixable because we have a great defense. What we're going to have to do is put Milroe back in, and they're going to have to fix the offensive line. And if they do that, then I think Roydale Williams and maybe Justice Haynes can bring us to the SEC championship. What do you think?
Look, man, Adam, I hope you're right, man. I mean, the offensive line stinks. I mean, it stinks. Proctor,
terrible.
Proctor is like, and I get it, man. He's a true freshman, and one day he's going to be a really, really, really good offensive lineman. Right now, he's like a hole, in the bottom of a cup. But it's not just him. I mean, I don't really feel confident about the offensive line. The other part of it is that I wanted one of these quarterbacks to kind of step up and be better than Milroe, and they haven't done it. I want Milroe back in. He's better than both of these guys. The only guy we haven't seen is Lonergan. Throw him in, and maybe he's better. But if he's not, throw one of these other guys back in. Well, Milroe, really. I'm just not. This just doesn't feel like Alabama football, man. We're not making them quit. We're not dominating anybody. It just feels like when we're just trying to get to the fourth quarter and hoping that we have the lead. And I don't know. I want to be wrong, but it feels like Nick Saban is at the end of the line, and and it's kind of we're there with him, and it's like, hey, we're there with him, but the people that are in his corner, like his assistant coaches, they're just not getting it done, man. I mean, I just don't feel like they're getting it done. I don't feel like we have. I watched that game last week against Texas, and I'm watching Sark, and he's doing trick plays, and he's just running a great offense, and he's attacking, and I don't feel like that with Alabama. I feel like we're just trying to make sure that we don't make a mistake.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, and I think next week Ole Miss is going to be the test, and you might be right.
I don't want to be right.
How we do against me neither, but I feel the same thing about Alabama football because I graduated from Bama, and I don't feel like we're anything near the 2015, 2016 teams. And I got to tell you, I've been one thing I think is the culture, because I've been a teacher for 15 years, and in the last 5 or 6 years,
what subject do you teach?
Noticed, I teach law, criminal law,
right? And
I've noticed that it's much harder for me to get to reach my students, and I feel like Saban is not reaching these players.
Yeah,
it's like a different generation of entitled kind of
it is.
I don't know how to. More softer players. I think that Saban is not getting to them. I think he's getting tired of it. And I think we might.
Think so?
Yeah, and that makes me sad.
Dude, that is such a great point, man. Adam, I'm telling you, man, I hope you're wrong, but I feel like that could be part of it. People, the generations change, and you hope that your head coach isn't one of these guys that's like separated from the generation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, when I grew up, like my dad was like, you work hard, you respect authority, you grind your way to success. This generation isn't like that. I don't think Saban's message is resonating, and I feel bad for him because it must be difficult for him. But I want to let other callers, comment. But let's see next week. Ole Miss will tell the tale, I think.
Yeah, great call, man. And I'm not disagreeing with you.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, I think you make a lot of great points. Great call from Adam, who's like, look, man, maybe Nick Saban isn't connecting with the players. If you guys want to get on the show and tell me what you think, I want you to tell me I'm wrong. He said I'm wrong. I just feel like we're not there. I mean, I went to school and Alabama stunk. I got there and we were good. We had Gene Stallings, and then we went Mike DuBose, and then, and then all of a sudden we're like terrible. Yeah. And then when Nick Saban came in after Shule, it was like, you won the fourth quarter. You outworked the opponent. Like, you did all these different things. And I just don't see that anymore. Like, I see a team that's running a race and they're hoping that they're better at the end. And that's the thing that really worries me, about where this Alabama team is right now. And I know they won tonight, but it doesn't feel like a win to me, because Nick Saban came in and it's like, we're going to make their ass quit. Nobody quit today. It was like, well, the clock ran out and Alabama was ahead, And that's kind of where I think that this program is. I felt like Tommy Rees was hoping that Buckner did a good job just so that he had somebody else that knew his offense. Let's go back to the phone lines again. Argue with me. Convince me that I'm wrong. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Cam Best, man. I just left the South Florida game down here in Tampa.
Bro, what did you think, man? Tell me I'm wrong.
Listen, man, you're not wrong. You're right. That's the thing. This Alabama team, man, it doesn't look the same. It's changed. And I think Saban's just getting old, and I think he's getting tired of just going through the motions. And that's what they look like they're doing, is just going through the motions. There's no toughness. There's no effort. There's no commitment from the players. There's no commitment from the coaches to do the things right, the little things right, like blocking on the O-line.
Right.
That's the little things. There's fundamental problems with Alabama right now. And if those things don't get fixed, we're in for a long season, Nick.
Dude, I'm with you, man. I see this. Like, I'm like the biggest homer. They tell me, like, when I was working at Bama Insider, like, hey, can you be more objective? I can't be objective. I'm objective to the point where, you know what, I'm going to call it like I see it, but I also graduated from Alabama. I went to school there. My sister went to school there. I love the program. I'm not covering for anybody. If I think they're doing great, I'm going to call them out on that. I'm going to give Saban his props. And if they stink like they do right now, I just can't make it up. They look like a sorry team right now, man. That's what I see.
You can't make it up. And, I didn't graduate from Alabama. I'm from Alabama. My cousin did, though. And he played on Bear Bryant's turnaround team, if you remember that, back in the 60s. And man, listen to me. He always told me about the fundamentals. That's what Bear Bryant taught, the fundamentals. The low man wins, driving people off the ball.
Yep.
That's the fundamentals of in the trenches, O-line, D-line. And if Alabama doesn't get back to the fundamentals, it doesn't matter how many five-star recruits you got. If you can't block and run the football, you're not going to win any football games.
Yep. Man, you're right on the money, man. That's it. All of the other stuff, like the talent and how many stars you have with On Three, and they're great at like kind of evaluating how good you are as a high school player. If you can't do the basics, it doesn't matter. That's why coming to Alabama for those guys has been so important, because they come to Alabama and Nick Saban is the coach. It's like, hey, you still got to do the things that get you to the NFL to make you a great player. You know, a lot of these 5-stars go to the other programs and they end up washing out. You look at the players that have come to Alabama as 5-stars and they end up making great careers for themselves and a lot of money is because he doesn't take their shit. Like, he's like, look, I don't give a crap what you did in high school, right? If you were at Hoover or you were at Thomas, whatever you're at, you come here, you do it this way. I just don't have the vibe that that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, you know, when Sarkisian come to Tuscaloosa last Saturday, he just looked on point. It looked like the Alabama team when he left. And I think we had a miss on Tommy Rees. I believe we did. I'm not speculating that he won't do better, but we should have went after a big-time hire. We should have went after a former NFL offensive coordinator.
That's right.
Just like we did with Lane Kiff and Sarkisian. We don't have time to lollipop around with coaches like Tommy Rees who want to flip it out to the tight end and do little plays that just don't work. And I don't want to see that the rest of the season.
Dude, he looks like he's 10.
Like that's what we're going to get.
He looks like he's 10. Like, I see him and I'm like, this is like a 10-year-old calling the plays, man. He's over here.
He probably can't even grow a beard.
Yeah, like he looks like a little kid. And then I see Sark just like whooping his ass. Like, hey, we're going to fake this. And if we don't get it, we don't care. We're still going to beat you anyway. Right? We're going to fake. We're going to have our receivers throw passes. We're going to do this and that. You can't even come up with 3 good plays. You know what? I mean, I'm not trying to bury this guy, but man, you're right, man. It's not even the same game.
Listen, Tommy Rees is going to have to step up his game this year or he's out.
Yeah.
He needs to get out of Alabama. He needs to get out of Tuscaloosa and go back to Notre Dame where he come from, because down here, we win national championships. We don't have time for you to grow as a coach and get better in 3 or 4 years and 5 years. Saban is 71 years old. He doesn't have time for that.
Dude.
We win national titles every year and we compete every year.
That's
and if
right.
we don't get that, it's time to go. Thanks, Mick.
Hey,
Appreciate
great
it.
call, man. And look, and that was a great call. That's a great call. Jam coming out of the game in South Florida where Alabama won. The bottom line is this, is that you told your guy to transfer from Notre Dame to Alabama, and the guy couldn't even complete like the elementary passes to stay in the game. We went to the 3rd string guy. Now, a lot of us are like, well, what about the 4th string guy, Laudergan? Maybe we can get him in and he can throw the 5-yard pass. You know, when you're calling for the 3rd, you know, the 2nd string guy that transferred with you, I mean, I'm expecting a little bit more than that. All right, let's go back to the phone again. I just want somebody to convince me that I'm wrong so that I feel a little bit better. I'll sleep better. Who's this and where you calling from? Hey, you on there?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
Well, that's
system.
not it.
3.
Let me drop that one. Let me go right back again. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Your call has been forwarded to an
All
automatic
right,
voice message
that's not doing it again. Let me go right back to the phone. Let me see if I can get... Hey, you got me? Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, you've reached Adam. I can't get the phone right now, but if you leave me your name.
All right, I just got Adam's voicemail. All right. I'm not sure what the deal is with the phone lines, but I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I just want somebody to tell me that I'm wrong. I just want to I want you guys to make me feel comfortable about my opinion about this. Who's this and where are you calling from? Please tell me I'm wrong.
Mick, this is Creed from Summerton, Alabama.
Creed,
how are you doing?
Roll Tide, man. Just make me feel better.
Roll Tide, buddy.
Just to make me feel better, man.
You know, this is going to be depressing for you two. You know, I can't I can't tell you things are going to get better. And to be quite honest, you keep bringing up the Shula era and all that. This looks worse than the Shula era. These teams that are being brought out. And on top of that, Mick, the administrators and the top brass, and I know your show will not want to hear this.
I want to hear
it. But it's time. Someone is going to have to talk to Saban and going to have to say, hey, do we want to continue mediocrity? You just here to be here? Or do you want to move on? Is it best for us to move on? And I'm thinking we're starting to see the beginnings of this. I don't know if you do, Mick, but it's there, buddy. I mean,
man, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to throw, like, I'm not saying, hey, it's time to dump Saban, but like, I know what you're saying. And because this isn't the standard that, that we're used to because of him. Like we've had like,
no, Mick,
this isn't, we got the third string quarterback in because the first and the second string couldn't get it done, but the first string center couldn't snap the ball. This offensive road grader offensive line couldn't block, like we couldn't run the ball. We threw it all under, we threw it all under like we're blaming the quarterback, but it's like, man, this is a lot deeper than this.
Yeah, it's not a quarterback issue. This could be a program issue, and that's where I take it to heart.
I hope not.
Program. We had something rolling and couldn't be stopped. And I started seeing cracks in it at the beginning of the 2021 season. There were cracks. We were able to hide them. We had a great first-round draft pick in Bryant.
Yeah.
We were able to carry teams. But I'm telling you, you see when he left. Now, that's the team we've been dealing with probably for 3 years.
How damn good was he, by the way? How damn good was he? Bryce Young, like how good was he? Like, do we realize now that this guy carried the team?
Ever play at Alabama.
Man, he was so good. like difference maker, man.
Actually, as a matter of fact, we would be undefeated with him.
Oh yeah, he would have beat Texas. Like he would have beat Texas.
He would have tore him apart.
He would have. Yep.
He was the smartest quarterback I've ever seen.
So smart, man.
But Mick, we are at Alabama, and we are going to have better days ahead.
We will.
But that's just my opinion here. I just think it may not be Nick Saban to bring us to that pinnacle. And it's time we look in the mirror and accept that. It's okay. He's done so much for us.
Right.
He has. We need to put his name all over that facility.
Yeah.
But at some point, he just bought a $22 million beach house. He's thinking it himself. I mean, he's tired.
Right.
We need some energetic. We need some smart minds in the game who can run this transfer portal because we're getting whacked at it.
Yeah.
Okay, Auburn's beating us at that. And that's where there's a big issue, big disconnect. We have problems in our program. I'm going to hang up to let your other callers talk and maybe give a rebuttal. But Mick, I love your show, man, and I want to thank you so much for giving my opinion, buddy.
Hey, man, roll tide, Creed. I appreciate you and everyone else, man. Like, I didn't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know where, what this was going to look like when, I show up, get ready to work on St. Patrick's Day, and On3 calls me and they're like, hey, you and Chris, your producer, you guys are out of work. We're not doing a channel anymore. And look, I had no disrespect for those guys. I love those guys. And, I tip my hat to Kyle Henderson, all those guys, man. Bone, I love Bone. You guys see him on my show. Clint Lamb. It's just the way that business works in this deal. I didn't know where we were going to be. And then I'm like, hey, I'm just going to do this. And I want you guys to like and subscribe and be part of this because I'm like, hey, maybe I can just do it myself, right? Because there wasn't really a spot for me to talk to you guys. I love Alabama. I love Nick Saban. I don't want Nick Saban to kind of sink, but at the same time, like there's a point where we all kind of get to the, where we're old. And it's like, hey, if we're not, if the players aren't buying into what we're saying anymore, then we need to kind of look at that. Right. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, this is going to be a long year. I remember the end of the Gene Stallings, 1996. That was my first year at Alabama. I love Gene. I still do. I think he's great. I think he looks awesome. Like, I love him, man. He won a national championship, and Nick Saban's the best of all time. But if you can't get your players and your coaches on the same page, then it's, you're kind of at that point where you got to figure out what the future is. So I'm not arguing with Creed on that. I just hope that Nick can get this figured out, because you got Ole Miss coming in, Mississippi State. The schedule's just going to keep getting harder and harder. And if you're not going to win a national championship, and that's kind of where we have been. And look, yeah, Kevin Steele, let me pull this up. Stan, he did do a great job today. He did a great job today. I mean, fantastic job. But my point is, like, you get past that and you look at what the offense did and everything else. There's just a lot of issues. And I'm just not sure, man. I just don't know. Like, I know that we've seen 3 quarterbacks, and I don't know. I'm not convinced that any of them are the right one. And I hope that they are, but I just don't. But the offensive line, let me pull this up right here. Crimson Tide says Bama was missing key players from an already offensive line tonight. You're right. You're right. Not good. I'm not going to say that word on here, but I'm with you. Nothing dominant about tonight's game. Nothing dominant. And now you got Ole Miss coming in and Lane Kiffin and everything else. So, it's like, where are we going to go from here? And I got my fingers crossed that eventually we're going to get this figured out. But I'm just not sure. And that's why I put the phone lines up. I want you guys, I just want somebody to tell me. I'm going to take one more call. Just tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I want to be absolutely wrong. All right, last call tonight. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mick, this is Clint. What's up, man?
What's up, dude? Tell me I'm wrong, bro. Just tell me, man.
Man, I don't think you're wrong, buddy. I don't. I tell you what I saw an offensive line that I think maybe an offense, some of the good high school defensive lines could whip. And that's kind of where I leave it. We have a terrible offensive line, and I'm just so disgusted about it.
Is there anything road grader about these guys, Clint?
Nothing. Nothing road grade. What did we hear all off season, though, man? This offensive line is going to be the best offensive line in
right.
Alabama football, and I think I could whip them.
I mean, like, there's the running backs get the ball, and there's like 2 or 3 guys tackling them before they even get like one step.
I noticed one time we did gain a few yards on one of the plays, but there was an offensive line. There was an offensive lineman down there. He's standing, not even looking for somebody to block.
Right.
So there's something that's just not right. I can't put my finger on it, and I haven't really been able to tune into your whole show today. We've had a death in our family, so we've been doing family.
Man, sorry to hear that, man.
Man, it's okay, but appreciate that. But we watched the game, and it's just so disgusting. Alabama hasn't had this bad of a team since 2007.
Yeah, look, I don't remember us looking like this since Shula left and Nick Saban took over. And I don't, man. I want Nick Saban to ride off on the national championship, train. You know what I mean? Like I love him. I want him to leave and be like, you know what? Like tip the cap and be like, hey guys, good to see you. Here's, Dabo Sweeney or whoever else is going to take over the program. I did my thing and here's number 7 in my time. But I look at what's going on right now and I'm like, man, this is you're getting paid too much money, and every year you want to raise and you look like crap right now. Like there's no, man. I mean, you're paid the most of any coach every year. And it's like, there's nothing about what I'm seeing right now that's the best coaching in football. And I mean, some of you guys are going to argue with me, and I'm not trying to fire him. I'm just saying, like, when you ask for that much money and you want to be the best paid guy, and then I see what I'm seeing, it's like, okay, well, I saw this 2 years ago in the championship game, last year in the 2 losses, and then in like 3 or 4 wins, and now it's every game. So it's a trend.
It is a trend. After what I've seen from this just lackluster, no effort from either side. Now the defense has not been bad, but from just the whole team, there's not the effort that was there. 5-10 years ago,
right?
That killer instinct, we just don't have it.
Yeah,
and it's really frustrating. Now, before you, I think to me he looks best, but do we really know? Even with saying that, do we really know? Because none of them had enough time.
I feel like, look, if I saw all 3 guys now, I'm just saying, hey man, let's have Milroe. Let's just put Milroe back where he started. His dazed and confused is better than what I saw with the other guys. And that's all I was saying in the Texas game. Just let me. I just want to see what we got, and then let's put our, all of our, our focus into one guy. But Buckner, man, no chance. And I thought Simpson was okay.
No chance, buddy. How did he? What's the deal? How did he even end up on our team? Did we not watch any?
Because the coach is like, hey, I don't have anybody that knows my system. Adam's like, Buckner was completely lost. That's how I felt. That is exactly how I felt. All right, Clint, final thoughts, man, before we wrap it up.
Well, I was sitting here with my dad. We're watching the Florida beat down to Tennessee. So awesome. One good thing
What's the
come out of the day.
What's the score in that one?
But it's one of those things. Dad said, hey, they could turn it on next week and look like real Alabama. And I'm hoping so.
Right.
I saw today, no chance. We may lose 5 games.
Oh, yeah, dude. Like, there's nothing dominant. There's nothing dominant about where we're at right now. I mean, I'm sorry.
Dick, listen, congratulations on your show, buddy. I'm really proud of you. You're doing a good job. Man,
look, Clint, man, I love you, bro. And I love everybody that was like here because I didn't know where we were going to be. I'm just going to tell you, I didn't know where we were going to be when, things changed last year. And I'm like wondering like where this show's going to be, where the tailgate show's going to be, what we're going to do. And then we do this and you guys all show up, man. It has just been a blessing from God, man. And I appreciate you and I appreciate everyone that's hanging out. And I love the fact that we're all talking Alabama football. I love the message board, the comment section, and you guys like getting into it. Just be respectful to each other. But look, if you want to get in there and you want to duke it out, duke it out. Just be respectful when you do it. That's all I'm saying. That's what this is all about. Just appreciate the fact that we all love Alabama, and then there's an occasional, other fan in there. But roll tide to you, Clint. Thank you to everybody else for hanging out. Let's hope that next week is a better week for Alabama. I mean, 17-3. Man, 17-3 against these guys it doesn't feel like much of a win to me, you know?
No, it really feels, honestly, worse than last week.
It does. I feel like that too. If I didn't have all you guys to come on here and see you like making comments and calling in and everything, I would probably be under this table right now, like in a fetal position, you know? Like I'm like, what is going on? What are we doing? I don't know, man. I just hope that like I want to eat crow, man. I want Saban to get this figured out and me to be like, hey, I didn't see this coming, because I don't see it coming right now. But I know that if there's a guy that could figure it out, it's Nick Saban. But there's a lot of work to do. I mean, that's just the way it is. This team is not close to what we're used to.
No doubt. All right, Mick. Have a good night, buddy.
Hey, man, roll tide, Clint. Thank you for calling in. And
roll tide.
Roll tide, man.
Yes,
and thank all of you guys for being part of the show. I'm going to let you watch Tennessee get, Florida's foot put right up their bung. I know a lot of you guys are going to – I know you'll like that, Clint. I know a lot of you guys are going to like that. And I want to thank you for being part of the show. I really do, man. I appreciate all you guys, Clint, and all you guys for being here. Thank you, and roll tide. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. I'm Mick Gillispie. Roll tide, everybody. I'm going to put videos up. I'll do one tomorrow. I'm going to do one every day of the week. And then Friday, we'll have the tailgate show. We'll be back in Tuscaloosa. We're going to do the tailgate show from Unique on the Strip. That's the bar that was where Egan was. And if you're in town, man, come by and holler at me. We'll be there from 5 to 7 on Friday. And then that show will play across the state of Alabama on Saturday. But roll tide, everybody. I'm when I say this, I genuinely mean it. I love you guys, and roll tide.